Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph. In today's episode, I have a question for you. Yeah, a question for you. My question is, how hard are you working? How many hours are you working a day? All right. Is what you're working on helping you get closer and closer towards your goals? I remember a very, very, very short conversation that I had when I was just mentioning in passing of the things that I'm working on, the things that I'm trying to do. And the person asked me, like, how do you find time to do all of this? And I said, well, when I really need to do something, I wake up earlier. There's 24 hours in a day, and I'm going to make the most of it. I'm not going to prioritize other things over it, you know? And I'm like, I need to get something done. So, okay, wake up early, go to sleep later, get it done, figure out a strategy, find a way to automate it, and keep going, right? And make that become your new norm until you reach to where you want to be. Find out things that you need to cut out, find out ways of modifying your schedule, to accomplish your goals. And the response that the person gave me was, and this is why the conversation was really short. It was like, well, that's not the way to do it. And I was like, okay, well, you do it your way and I'll do it my way. So now I ask you, like, how hard are you working to achieve what you want to achieve, right? If you see how many videos that I've put out since the short time that I've been on YouTube, right? And if you've seen the amount of growth that I have, some people, they might be able to put out one video or two videos and then they just take off exponentially. But for the most part, most people are not going to be able to do that. And being able to go live, being able to put out pre-recorded content, being able to clip up videos, it's such a huge learning curve, right? But it's something that I said that I committed to. I said, okay, I'm going to get into this. And then I did it, right? There was no, oh, I'm going to wait this much amount of time and I'm going to do this type of, research. I mean, you do research, of course, but you still got to get started, right? And that example is very similar to how I do things like in my work life, and learn new things. It's like, all right, if we have some major project that we're working on and it needs to get done, all right, wake up earlier, go to sleep later, get the job done, right? Mission oriented, mission focused. If I have something coming up for jujitsu, try to take in more classes, try to train more, train harder, whatever the case may be. Make time, create time. Sometimes you have to sacrifice sleep to get to where you want to be, right? So I ask you, how hard are you working? How many hours are you working in a day? So when you hear, or when I've heard people say, oh, I'm working, I worked 10 hours a day, I worked 14 hours a day, I worked 16 hours a day. And the immediate thought that I would have is, oh, they put in that many hours at their regular job, right? At their day job. So they might have worked a double shift, which, trust me, I know some, especially if you're nursing and stuff like that, it's totally possible that you work double shifts and stuff like that, where you could end up putting 16 to 24 hour shifts in, right? But the other perspective, which is my perspective of working many hours in a day, it can go from 14 to maybe sometimes 20, right? I classify every single thing I do as work because for me, the work that I do is for continuous growth, continuous improvement, right? So everything that I do, if it doesn't add value, then I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't be doing this. And the things that do add value, I consider those as work. And here's the reason that I consider it as work, right? Because I prioritize work. So if I prioritize work, then I'm going to say, okay, this needs to get on the schedule and I need to find a way to work it in. if it's like recreational or something, then I'm like, okay, I could blow it off. I know though, a lot of people, they value the recreational, so they will not blow off the recreational, but they will blow off the work, right? And to me, that's a losing formula. I don't work that way. I'd rather say, okay, so working the regular job, that's work, right? Going to jujitsu class, training, whatever, what it does for your mental, your physical, all of that, that's work. Maybe you like to go to the gym. To me, that's work, right? All those type of things, to me, that's work, right? Working on the YouTube stuff, that's work. Studying these Udemy courses, Terraform, whatever the case may be, like doing the cybersecurity, hacker one-on-one stuff like that, that's work, right? So in that way, like having a goal, anything you have a goal towards, right? That should be considered as work. Although a lot of people, they refuse to set goals because number one, goals hold you accountable. And number two, that's work, right? So a lot of people say, oh, I want to work, I want to work, I want to work. But then when it comes time to actually do the work, then there are no show, no call, no show. All right. And that's why I move the way that I move. I don't bring many people along. Like I'll share the information about like what I'm doing, how I'm doing it and stuff like that, how you can do it, right? But it's really difficult for me to bring people along because I'm always moving. And if you need a break, that break, the bus isn't stopping, right? So I might do a pit stop at, you know, how like the Greyhounds and stuff like that, how they stop along the way for people to get on, people to get off. You might get off the bus and the bus keeps on going and, you know, you're out of luck. And but that's the reason, because I don't like letting people go, right? And I don't mean like fired at work or anything like that. That has nothing to do with me. What I'm referring to is like on the train that I'm moving, on the bus that I'm moving, the one that I'm driving, right? I don't like people slowing me down. And if you want to come along for the journey, you have to be ready to work. You have to be ready to put in the time, right? I know some people say, "Oh, well, you know, I want to sign up. I want to sign up to work with you and everything like that." And to me, I'm like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Because I have crazy expectations. I put crazy expectations on myself, right? So if I like, and the expectations that I have on myself, where I'm at, you are very far from there and you want to get closer to my level, you should probably be putting in twice the work I am so we can actually work effectively together, because I can help you, I can teach you, I can give you some guidance and stuff like that. But the real growth comes when we are like, when we can like bounce ideas off each other, things like that, right? And there's very few people that I found that I've been able to do that with, right? And I highly value that type of collaboration, you know. But then the bus that like a lot of people, they want to move with me, right? But then so many other different priorities that come in and they come out, and it's like, okay, things come up, right? How do you adjust to that? What do you do so that you can stay on the journey, on the path, and not have a setback? And now you have that setback or whatever it is that priority that comes up, right? Now you get off the bus and now somebody else comes on the bus, right? So again, the question is, how hard are you working? How many hours are you putting in a day? You know, when people ask me like, so like, how is your day structured? And you know, number one, I already spoke to you guys about the importance of your calendar, whether you're using a Google Calendar, your calendar on your iPhone, maybe whether you're writing it down, whatever it is that you're doing. The importance of the calendar is super important. I use my calendar to the extent of like when people need to schedule an appointment with me, I'm like, all right, here's your calendar link. Find a time that's open. You know, try to find a time that's open. Put it in there, and then by that, if you don't do that, we're probably not meeting, right? Sometimes, of course, there's some emergency meetings that are really important stuff that I'll find, like I'll make time for, you know. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, right? Respect your time, respect your calendar. Don't let anyone else disrespect your time or your calendar. That's that's the first and foremost, maybe even the only one, right? People that don't value your time, they don't value you, and you shouldn't even be wasting your time with them. All right. You need to be laser focused on what you want to accomplish. I understand things will come up. Cool. But you cannot let whatever it is that comes up stop you from reaching your goals. Handle those things. You might have to cut out on some of your eating time. Might be good for you. Fast. Might have to fast a little, right? You might have to cut out on some sleep time. Who knows? Whatever the case may be. Because you still have to handle whatever comes up, right? The world does not stop. I heard a story the other day, right? And, someone had to pay like a water bill or electricity bill, something to that extent. And they told the person that like the person who gave them the responsibility to pay it, it's like, oh, I'm almost finished with these payments, and once I finish with these payments, I'll pay this bill, right? And I'm like, nobody cares about all the things that you have to do first, right? Responsibilities are responsibilities. When things happen, right? For instance, hurricanes and stuff like that, whatever it is that happens, right? You have whatever it is, you're in the hospital, something like that. The bills don't stop. You still have to pay your bills. That's part of being an adult. Whatever. Like, you can't rely on your parents and stuff anymore. Things keep happening. So that means when things come up, when things arise, right? You have to go back to your calendar and say, okay, what can I do? Where can I put 30, 40, 50, an hour, 2 hours in here? Like, maybe I can do this part, this little part here, that little part there, whatever the case may be, right? But I still need to put in the work, because the longer that I take, the less opportunities become available. The longer that I take, the less opportunities become available. And if you get off the bus, right, the person who does get on the bus, now they get into position to take your opportunities. But that goes back to why it's really hard for me to put people on my bus and pull them along, because I'm like, I want to see you win, but it has to be up to you. I cannot force you to win. It's just not in me. I mean, I've always been that lone wolf type of person, and along the way, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, we can work together on this. We can work together on that. But when you hop off the bus, I'm like, I got to keep going, because I have a destination in mind. I have a goal in mind. I was just thinking about this right before, because this whole topic just literally popped into my head 10 minutes before I started creating this video, right? And it's kind of like, so going back to the person that told me, oh, that's not the way to do it, because you need to, whatever the other way, passive time management. I don't know, whatever. Maybe this is active time management. It reminds me of something, right? Because there's always this debate about active income and passive income, right? And some people, they'll say, oh, it's all about passive income, right? You need to get to passive income, which I think that's great. It's amazing having passive income where it can flow in. Great, good, awesome, right? However, here's the interesting thing that I notice about that, right? The people who are 100% advocates for passive income, you shouldn't, you need to turn active income into passive income and then whatever, right? A lot of those people, the way that they achieve passive income is by actively asking people who are working to who are generating active income to support their mission to generate passive income. And if you join their mission to generate passive income, then you're going to start generating passive income as well, right? But until then, you need to continue to get that active income so that you can contribute to them to help you get passive income as well, right? So they're passively getting income by actively having you contribute to their mission to generate passive income. And then if they generate it successfully enough, then you will hopefully get passive income as well, right? And the reason that I bring that up, right, is because I actively work in my own life, everything that I do, right? I'm like, all right, how can I do this to provide the best quality, right? The best value. And based on the work that I'm doing, that I'm putting in, putting value out there in the world, right? Whatever I can generate from that, right? Actively working is whether it's the day job, whether it's doing content, whatever the case, whether it is coaching, whatever the case is, right? Through my efforts, I want to fund my passive income, right? But I'm not going to be preaching something about passive income where it's at the extent of I get to live passively based off people who are working actively. No. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to share what I do, right? And it's work. It's work. And then I look into the different ways and assets and stuff like that you can invest in to generate that passive income. But I'm never going to stop the active part of it, because to me, that's where a lot of the fun is, right? It's like a lot of people, they want to go the passive route so they can go and have fun and they can travel and all that type of stuff. No, I enjoy the work, right? Maybe people don't enjoy the work, but to me, I find pleasure in the work. I find pleasure in like learning new things, sharing what I'm learning, talking to you, right? Giving you strategies so that you can do cool things, right? And then you can take these strategies, because I'll probably never talk about investments and active, like I'll probably never talk about investments, passive income, and all that stuff. There's plenty of places that you can go for that, right? But when they start telling you that, oh, in order to generate this passive income, you need to give the money to me meaning the person who's making the video, right? That's when the red flags go up, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But that just like the whole part about active time and passive time, it correlates very well with me with active income and passive income. I, by all means, will generate through my active time, generate active income to fuel the ventures of passive income, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing that off the backs of other people. That's going to be solely off my hard work, my sweat, my tears, right? So that's how I see it. So again, it goes back to how hard are you working? Do you have a list of what you're trying to accomplish? Do you have a timeline of when you're trying to accomplish it? Do you have are you able to see how close you are to there? And if you are off track, what do you need to do to get back on track? Right? A lot of times we're just lollygagging, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We like everything that comes up, we use it as an excuse. Every little obstacle, we use it as an excuse instead of a competitor that we can use as a victory, saying, even though this came up, I was able to adjust, I was able to modify, and I was able to still reach my goal. Right? So, like, if you take anything from this, right, it is, what are you doing to reach your goals? How hard are you working? If you are not where you want to be, how many hours are you putting in a day to get there? You have a day job? Great. You have a second job? Great. How many hours are you studying? Where do you want to be? what are you willing to do? Because a lot of times, a lot of people, they want to transition into tech and stuff like that. And the salary that you're going to be starting off with 9 times out of 10 isn't like, it's not that high. It might be a lot higher than what you're currently making, but it's still not that high. Are you willing to work that, continue to study to get better, and still work another job? Or still do something that generates income? And then, once you get that job, right, are you going to continue to working as hard? Or are you like, oh, I'm good now, I can relax? A lot of people, they have a destination in mind. I don't see an end, right? Because for me, when I get to a certain spot, it's like, okay, cool. Now we got to this pit stop, this checkpoint. Let's keep going. It's funny, actually, and I'll wrap up with this. I was talking to one of my jiu-jitsu teammates, right? And they asked me, like, do you like competing? And I said, I don't really care for the competition itself. I care more of the journey to get to the competition, right? Because it is brutal, it is tough, and it's like you are training so much, trying not to get injured, but trying to train tough, right? And you get there, and now the day of the competition comes, and it's like, all right, you got there. Of course, you want to win, you want to try to win and stuff like that. And I've had wins, I've had losses, no big deal. But it's like as soon as I get the medal or I lose, whatever the case, I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, that was fun. But it's over, and let's look forward to the next one. You know, and for me, with that mindset, I'm always looking forward. I'm never fixated on one particular endpoint. And I'm like, all right, we got there, and whatever happens, once you get on the mat and that match starts, whatever happens, and life goes on, and there's another one waiting for you in a few months, So with that being said, just keep looking towards the future. How hard are you working? I'm going to leave you with that, right? How hard are you working? How many hours are you putting in a day? Let me know in the comments how hard you're working, how many hours you're putting in a day to get to your desired destination. And then let's have that conversation. All right. Let's have that conversation. I'm here for you. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time that I go live, every time I drop new content, all of that good stuff. Like the video, share the video. And if you haven't done so yet, check out the Patreon, see all the information that I'm dropping in there. How, trying to add value in multiple ways. Reach out to me, email me, all that good stuff. But until next time, this has been another episode of Candid Conversations. This is Tech Coach Ralph signing off.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.
Enigmatic Joker.